thing. The reason two things doesn't work is that anything meaningful has roadblocks. The people who succeed usually aren't the smartest or the handsomest. They're the ones who don't quit before success happens. The ones who succeed are the ones who break through all the roadblocks. What happens if you try to do two main things? When you hit a roadblock with one thing, you shelve that thing for today and say, I'll come back to it tomorrow. You work on the second main thing until you guessed it. The second main thing hits a roadblock. You go back to the first main thing, but instead of pushing through the roadblock, you simply decide to do things a little different. Then you work until you hit another roadblock and go back to the second thing again. What happens is that with two main things, you just keep hopping back and forth, never really solving for the roadblocks. You just keep sort of going around them. True success isn't about shortcuts and going around things. It's about really solving the roadblocks. And since having two things shortchanges your ability to go through the roadblocks, you end up doing two things mediocrely instead of one thing great. You have to do just one thing. Now that you have that one thing, you have to determine what's the one thing that drives the actual growth in the one thing. You see, very rarely are there 5 or 10 inputs that are all equally important. Usually one thing drives everything. Like if you get that one thing done, then everything else gets done anyhow. When I was building 25,000 articles on Easy Articles and becoming one of the most prolific article writers in the world back in 2006, all I had to do was write 10 to 20 articles a day, and everything else fell into place. Once I wrote them, they got submitted. Once they got submitted, Google indexed them. Once people read them, they clicked on the CTA. And once they clicked the CTA, another 10 things happened that led to sales and very profitable sales. But through all of that, the only thing I had to focus on was my daily article production. The one thing that is the central driving factor in your business that is controlled by you. Is it getting 50 new followers a day? Is it getting 100 new trials a day? Is it writing 100 posts a day? Is it making 100 connections a day? What has to happen every single day for your goals to happen? If you're really busy all day, but don't do that one thing that makes growth happen, that makes the result occur, then you aren't getting things done and you won't achieve your goals. That's when you get to the end of the day and you say, I was really busy all day, but it doesn't feel like I got anything done. Contrast that with working just 90 minutes one day and totally crushing your daily reps that it takes to get to your goal. You might say at the end of the day, I don't feel like I did much today, but I actually got a ton done because what you did actually moved the needle on your main thing. That's the difference between working all day and getting nothing done. Working 90 minutes and getting your goal done. Happen if you did that one thing every day. You got the goal done every day. You did the full complement, the full 100 visitors, the full 100 posts, the full 100 connections every day for 365 days. 100 a day times 365 days equals 36,500. You'd have 36,500 results. What would happen if you did 36,500 invites? What if you wrote 36,500 posts on? That's absurd. 25,000 articles on Easy Articles was absurd. But making my first million from scratch online was also absurd. Making 300 WSOs like no one had perhaps ever done before was absurd. Writing over 1,000 posts and comments in 20 days on school was absurd, but that's what works for me. So for you, imagine you create an absurd reality, like I'm going to do 100 actions per day, such that in 1 year it's 36,500 actions that lead to an amazing result in my life. What would happen in your business if you actually did 36,500 DMs or 36,500 posts or 36,500 videos or whatever your leading metric is? So now that you have that one thing we have to do to make it happen, the 100 reps a day won't happen by accident. One day you fall off and 70 is okay, and then tomorrow is okay, and then you take a day off, and then your average is 50 for the week, which means you will only have 18,250 results by the end of the year, which is a drastic degradation from 36,500, and is probably the death knell to your dream. The only way you're going to hit your daily goal, whether it's 200 of something or 100 of something or 10 of something, that it has to happen purposefully. The only way is daily. And the only way daily is possible is if you schedule it, do it no matter what. You have to do it daily and consistently. The problem with this, and your mind is probably already getting resistant, perhaps, you were leaning into me when I was building up the results, but now that it's about daily scheduling, you might be feeling internal resistance. So if you try to do this daily work every day and it becomes like a noose with a concrete block, and you start hating it, then you'll never hit your result. Maybe in the past, you've tried to just walk through that and just grit it out. You didn't get the result, did you? Because the resistance always won and you always quit, right? In order for this to work, you have to have a different plan because gritting it out doesn't work in the long run. So I'll tell you next what to do to get it done. The same thing I did to power through 3 years of article generating, and how I've powered through 17 years in this business through thick and thin, and how you can rise up for the next 2 years and build your legacy. So let go of the resistance of the hard work of the daily discipline for a second. I want to zoom all the way out to the end result and focus there for a moment. You have to visualize in your mind, what is the future if you go all in? What does this look like to you? What is the end result? You have more money, you have more power, you have more respect, you can build a bigger house, you can give back to the kingdom more. And really visualize this. What is your future look like? What do you want it to look like? How much money? What house do you live in? Like, where is that house? Where do you travel to? How does all of this feel? Is it rewarding? Do you feel freedom? Is it empowering? Is there a sense of accomplishment? Like, how does it really feel? What does it do for you? It gives you more money. It's a deep relief. So now what happens if you don't do this? What happens if you don't get this new reality? If you just stay where you are? What if you do nothing? Like, are you willing to stay where you are? Are you willing to find a way to do whatever it takes to live in that new reality? And if you're truly willing and you're going to break through, you've decided and you're going to do whatever it takes to live this new reality. So now you have this like truly deep and real desire to live this new life. And now imagine that future and how powerful and amazing that future is. The money, the influence, the power, the respect, the bigger house, giving back to the kingdom more. And when we get off this video, and don't leave now, there's more, but when we get off of this video, you have to really lean into this and visualize this new future. And maybe you watch this again to get back into the moment and you're imagining that future. Now, every single day, remind yourself that this is why I'm doing this. Every single day when you wake up, you must revisit what your future reality looks like. What I am doing for this, how my life will be with this new reality, this new life, this new money, this new influence, this new wisdom, this new giving, this new faith. You really want to imagine this new future every single day and imagine until it's a deep longing inside of you. Can you feel it? So now you have this vision, you have this reality that you live and breathe, and that by living out this daily schedule of doing the 100 or the 200 reps, that you can get to 36,500 actions that leads to success, that leads to the reality. And when you can link your future vivid reality and everything that means that you're visualizing and link that to the daily steps, then the daily steps don't feel so hard. The steps don't change, but when your mind changes, they feel different. So now, because you have this vision, you can really do the schedule because you want to, not because you have to. You literally feel like you want to do it because doing it brings about that amazing future, and you want to step into it as quickly as possible. Imagine waking up each morning and you're thinking about your great win, and you think about the effort as you go into your day. And because you've linked the effort with the end result in your mind, you actually look forward to the work of the day. Like, you really begin to lean into it. It's like the work becomes flow. I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling that flow now. Vividly imagine your future and the worth of it every day. But now the sobering fact is that the way that this works is like a snowball. You do this 100 units each day, and again, and at first you can't see the result. It just looks like you're not making any progress. You're doing the steps, but you aren't getting the result. And that's because results are like a snowball. They start really small at first and they grow and grow exponentially over time. When you do this, you create this new reality. You really grow into it. And as you grow into it, you have to shed your old reality. Like when you were a kid growing up and you grew out of your old school clothes. When you grow, you no longer fit into your old clothes. You no longer fit into your old reality, but your old reality does not contain the result of the future. Your future cannot fit in the clothes that you wear now. Your future cannot fit in your current daily schedule. The 36,500 actions, the money receives that multiplies the power, the success, the respect. You got to realize where you're at is a current reality. You see, your actions of the last year created today's reality. And if you want a different reality, you have to do things differently to get that different reality. You actually have to create a new reality. And the thing is, creating a new reality is not a straight line. It usually hums along and hums along like a straight line, barely moving for 30, 60, 90, 180 days. Like a bamboo shoot has to grow for like 5 years underground and then grows tall very, very fast once it breaks through the ground. To create your current reality, you have to do the unseen work. And even the seen work just doesn't show results at first. It's like there's a critical mass that has to be hit for the daily work to start producing. We see that a lot of times with social media or with YouTube videos or with Instagram posts. You do 3 a day for 6 months and very, very linear growth. And then all of a sudden, one video or post spontaneously takes off. It's not spontaneous, it's the result of all the constant daily effort before that. There's a critical mass of humanity, and one little thing that you do triggers that new mass of followers to start liking and clicking. But it never would have happened if you posted that video first, because you wouldn't have had that daily consistency and that flow of followers one by one. And that happens linearly at first. Of not seeing the bamboo's roots, they stop. It's like they pull out the bamboo out of the ground and they look at it to see the growth, but because you pull it out of the ground, it dies. People do that. They don't see growth at 90 or 100 days, so they quit. They take 10 days off for reflection. When they come back, their idea is dead. So they go looking for another idea and another 100 days, and then they look at the bamboo roots. And they do this 5, 10 times in a row, and they keep killing their dreams after 100 days. Now that they've killed their dream 10 times, they feel like a failure and they think they failed. And so then they quit. The truth is, they're not a failure. They just quit too soon. And again, they keep quitting. And if you keep quitting, your reality never changes. But imagine instead of quitting and giving up, like maybe you've done in the past, imagine you find your future reality and you determine the steps to make it real, and you quantify an absurd level of daily production, and you commit to it, and you do it every day for 90 days. And then when you're going to quit, you don't quit another 90 days. And now your videos take off, and now your sales take off, and now your business takes off, and now your reality changes. So you got this. Choose one thing that is your main goal that will get you to your desired reality. Determine the underlying action that has to occur daily for you to actually achieve that main goal. Create a schedule for doing over and over again, and then visualize the future. Really visualize the result, the money, the influence, the impact, the freedom, the lifestyle, and then remind yourself daily of that future. Lean into that future and lean into how it feels each day so it fuels your daily work. And you will be creating your future even as you walk in the reality of the future. I want to go completely off script here for just a moment, because in the back of my mind, here's what I'm thinking. Right here in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I am living this out right now. So I got up this morning pretty early for me. I'm in a coffee shop, and I've scripted this out a few days ago, but I hadn't recorded it yet. And so here's the thing, this is a number of words on a screen. But the truth of the matter is, if I didn't create this recording right now to YouTube, and I wouldn't be able to send it to my LinkedIn followers, and I wouldn't be able to send it to my Facebook followers, and I wouldn't be able to send it to my school followers, and I wouldn't be able to send it to the email. But because of the fact that I took the discipline, it's not just about big ideas. I had creative work then, but creative work doesn't get us long-term results. We have to take that creative work, and then we have to have the daily discipline. You see, here's the thing. I'm not doing anything that you can't do. You're probably watching me on YouTube, and you may have a channel with 1 million followers, and you're kind of laughing at the low video production. But the truth of the matter is, probably 95% of the people that watch my videos, a handful of videos themselves, or none at all. Maybe you're only getting 50 views when you publish a video. Can I tell you from experience? You just have to have the discipline. Just like I had the discipline. We did 25,000 articles in about 3 years at eZine Articles. We did, I think, over 300 WSOs at Warrior Forum. When I built a Facebook group 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was a 4-month process, and I friended, 1,500 people in 4 months and built a 990 person Facebook group. LinkedIn, 3 or 4 years ago, I had 1,200 connections. I don't have a whole lot of organic connections coming in. We just reach out, we do connections, and now I have 5,500 connections. I'm doing the same thing on YouTube. Here's the thing. If I'm going to do it, I have to have that daily discipline. And this is what I really want to lean into you on. What is it that you really want to accomplish? Because the truth of the matter is, no matter how bad you want it, and no matter how good you are, and no matter how creative you are, if you're writing articles for Medium, if you don't have the daily discipline to write that article and then do all the other things that you have to do over there, if you don't have the daily discipline to implement the system, I don't care how many programs that you go out and purchase on here's the 19 steps for mastering whatever it is that you do, if you don't do the daily steps, I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself. I feel like I should hit end to this training, but hey, you're still here. Everybody else has left, but you're still here. My retention graph's going down, but you're still here. I really want to impress on you that the most important thing I think that you can do next, right? Unless you haven't had your time with God right today, I think the most important thing that you can do next is just shut everything off and ask yourself, how can I have the daily discipline? I had somebody ask me in email a few minutes ago, hey, Sean, how do you come up with all of these good ideas and how do you implement them? And the truth of the matter is, my response is I don't fully implement everything that I do get good ideas. Sometimes I waste time on these good ideas. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what I'm doing right now. I just decided this morning, actually, I think God decided it for me. Look, today, what you're going to do before your client call in 10 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to record that script that you typed out several days ago. You've been avoiding it for a couple of different reasons, but now it's time to do it. And folks, this is why I'm kind of going into the back end of this, because I want you to see what it's really like. I think sometimes you might look at somebody like me, or you might look at an influencer that has 1 million followers. I don't have that. All you see is the production that they put out. That's all you see. You see the 45-minute video, you see the 20-minute video, you see all the followers. All you see is the end. And if I'd have quit when my script ran out a few minutes ago, that's all you would have seen from me. And you probably would have seen a couple hundred views, because that's about what we're doing on videos right now, a couple hundred views. Maybe this will take off and it'll be 20,000 views if you share it with a few people. The truth of the matter is, I have an expectation that this is probably going to be about 200 views, unless something magical is happening right now and you're thinking, I'm just going to share it, I'm going to like it, and I'm going to comment below, and I'm going to really tell YouTube this is an amazing video, and it shares, right? But by you being here, by me continuing, by you not quitting right now, I hope that you can kind of see behind the scenes, that you can see that it's this action right now. Again, it's this positive action taken right now, to that as I implement it and as I do it, I am creating my own future. And so now I want to put this back on you. What could you do like I've done? I think I've been here about 22 minutes. What could you do every single day for 22? Oh, and by the way, it won't be a total of 20 minutes. We're going to do a little bit of editing. That'll probably take 20 minutes. There'll be an upload process. I'll then send this out to all of my different networks. I might spend an hour. So this is probably a 2-hour process to put this out. Let me ask you this. What could you do every single day that is a 2-hour process, that if you did that process 5 days a week for a full year, your life would be absolutely transformed? Let's go ahead and quit on that. What could you do every single day? What could you might have to spend some time thinking about it, but what could you do every single day, 5 days a week, minus a few vacations, for a full entire year? What could you do every single day that would create a concrete, solid result in the future and that would radically change your life?